Texas offensive coordinator Kyle Flood. If you can start us off with an opening statement, then we'll open up the room for questions.
Good morning. On behalf of Coach Sarkisian, really in our whole program, we really want to just say thank you to everybody here at the Citrus Bowl. Just a first-class experience all the way. We're really excited to be in the game, and certainly want to thank the people here in the city of Orlando. I've been fortunate now to be in this city quite a few times. My brother lives down here, and to play in my second Citrus Bowl. So the warmth that this city gives you when you come down here, and the way we've been treated has just been first class all the way. So we really appreciate it, and we're excited about the game.
All right. If you have a question, raise a hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start here. Those two on the left. We'll start with the pattern shirt and then the green shirt. We'll go from there.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports, Horns, 247.com's questions for Trevor. Two-part question. One, just looking to see if you have any further decision whether you're going to enter the NFL draft or return for next year. And two, could you just talk about, kind of the motivation for the team not being in a college football playoff game to finish the season the right way?
I'm going to start with the second question first. For us, it's kind of just sending a message to, college football playoffs and the rest of the nation of, like we're a dominant football team, we're a physical football team, and, whether we should have been in or not, that's up to the college football playoff, but we're just here to send a message and go and dominate this game. As for my decision, I'm just going to go throughout this game, kind of focus on this game right now, and then I'll make a decision after that.
All right. We'll stay in the second row left.
Danny Davis of the Austin American Statesman. Arch, I guess we really haven't heard from you. I guess we heard from your dad, but can you take us through your decision to come back next year, and what kind of went into that decision?
Yeah, I felt like I developed a lot this year, especially towards the back half, and I want to keep it going. There's no reason to leave. I feel like I got a lot more football left to play, and excited to still be a part of this team.
All right, we'll stay on the left side, front row.
Coach Flood, I'm Richardson, Orange Bloods. Coach, you guys have had a lot of turnover since the season has ended. Can you maybe speak to what that transition has been like, for you guys? Is this just a part of college football nowadays? And how do you guys move forward without a lot of key guys here?
I think it is. I think this is something that everybody in college football is going to have to get adjusted to. Players are making decisions. Some players making the decision to move on and go into the draft, and then some other players making decisions that, they're going to eventually go in the portal, when that opens. But I think everybody's kind of navigating this in real time. It's not like you can call a coach from 5 years ago and say, hey, how did you guys do this? It didn't exist back then. So we're all navigating it. I think that what has helped us as a staff is the experience coming from the NFL and knowing how to practice with less players. So that part has been pretty seamless for us. So we kind of know how to do that. And then there's an exciting part to it as well, where you get some younger players who maybe didn't have as big a role during the regular season. Now their role gets to expand. And I think for us as coaches, that's really exciting, because not only does it give them a chance to impact the game this week, but you get a little glimpse maybe of what is coming in the future.
All right, we'll stay in the front row, Kirk in the pattern shirt, and then we'll go to the second row with the hat.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. To that end, Kyle, how do you handle playing time when, you've seen Arch all year, you know what he can do. Do you use this?
We like what he does.
You like what he does. Do you use KJ Lacey and maybe some of these younger players even more than you would normally?
I think it's really position by position. I don't think, quarterback for us has ever been a rotational position, so I don't really see that. But there are other positions now where the running back room is a little bit different than it was, 2 weeks ago. So there's going to be guys that, Ryan Niblett, Christian Clark, Michael Terry, James Simon, all these guys are going to have a role in the game. So I think it's really just more position by position. On the offensive line, we're fortunate. Our starting five, they're all here for the game and they're excited to play. But there's other positions where the rooms have changed a little bit over the last 2 weeks. And I think there you're going to see a little bit more rotation, a little bit more flexibility in terms of the game plan.
All right, we'll stay on the left, second row on the aisle, and then we'll go back to the fourth row.
Kyle, Chip Brown, Horns247.com. Can you just talk about the evolution of the offensive line this season? You had some movement at left guard, and then you settled in with Hudson at left guard and Connor Robertson at center. Can you just talk about, finally getting to that point?
Yeah, really what we've been searching for all year is consistency. And I think we found that a little bit better, toward the end of the year. It's We played 3 of our best games up front, arguably against the 3 best defenses that we saw. Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Really 3 of our best performances of the year. And then there were some other games where we weren't happy with our performance. So all the movement, the switching of the players, that's never ideal for an offensive line. I'm just going to be honest with you. Over the last 32 years I've been coaching that position, you'd like to have 5 guys. You'd like them to play the whole year now because of injuries. That rarely happens. But if a guy goes out with an injury, he comes back healthy, you get him back in there. You'd like to have continuity. Continuity generally leads to consistency. It's the most important part of that position. It's really what we've been searching for. I think we found that later in the year. So that's exciting for us. And now we got to continue against a really good defense.
All right, we'll go to the 4th row on the aisle, then 2nd row on the green.
Matt Marshall, Orlando Sentinel. Arch, this is for you. Your Uncle Peyton played in a couple Citrus Bowls years ago. Did you talk to him about it? I mean, what have you? Did you ever mention that and what the experience was like, and how special is that kind of playing the same game that that Peyton played in?
Yeah, I was in New Orleans over the break, and my grandfather told me about those games, and my dad. And it's cool. It's cool being a part of this game, especially that he played in it, and we're excited to go play a good Michigan team.
All right, we'll go to the 2nd row. Just wait for the mic if you can.
Evan Veith, Inside Texas on 3 Sports. For both Arch and Trevor, with Trey and DeAndre gone from the team for now and going into the 2026 season, how important are these practices in this game to kind of sharpen your leadership skills as you go forward? Trevor, if you come back, and Arch, with you returning, either you can answer.
Yeah, definitely important for us 2 to step up. Just 2 guys that have been here a while and good players left. And also for these younger guys to step up, get more reps, and kind of get our timing down with them.
Yeah, I think it's just a good test of our leadership. Obviously losing key guys. It's important that, like Art said, that we step up and just lead the guys in order to, take the dub. So.
All right, we'll go to the 3rd row left in the hat.
CJ Vogel on Texas Football. Coach, we heard Sark for the first time mention the portal as an option for the offensive line. Before we get to that point, I mean, can you kind of give an update or what you've seen from some of those young guys on the interior, especially that freshman class and Kibble and Daniel Cruz as well?
One of the collateral positives, if you want to call it that, of having less players is when you practice, everybody stays in the same area. So whereas when you have a scout team, I don't necessarily get to see those guys performing on the scout team. I hear from the defensive coaches how they're doing, that kind of stuff. But now I get to see everything. So that to me is exciting. And we're playing a team that from a run game standpoint does a lot of the things we do. So I'm actually getting to watch those guys as they give the look, do the things that we were doing, on our side of the ball as well. So, guys like Danny Cruz, Nate Kibble, Jaden Chapman, this has been a really good 2-week stretch for them, as they've improved.
All right, we'll take a couple more on the left here in the green and then to your left.
Kyle, is it realistic to try to build an offensive line through the portal, or would you prefer to continue to develop guys and attack it that way?
I think if you asked any college coach, they would tell you, in a perfect world, you'd love to recruit your own players, you'd like to retain them, and you'd like to develop them over 3, 4, 5 years, whatever that looks like. But kind of like what I said before, that's not college football anymore. It's just not, because if you recruit really good players, they may have options other places that they may decide to take, and that's just a part of college football now. So, is it realistic to do it? I think everybody's going to try to do it. Certainly, at a place like Texas, where we can recruit the best high school players in the country, and recruit at a high level, we're always going to try to do that. But I also think going forward, the portal's always going to be a part of that process as well.
We'll stay in the 2nd row. Eric?
Kyle, just kind of piggybacking off that question, I know it's somewhat of a hypothetical right now, but if you guys are to recruit the portal at offensive line, are you still looking for the same characteristics in terms of what you're looking for as a player? And is it any different coaching someone who may have played for, multiple offensive line coaches as opposed to someone you get fresh out of high school? Well,
you started that question in a bad way, because once you said hypothetical, I really shouldn't answer it. I said, but I'm going to answer it, though. I'm going to answer it. No worries. Is it different coaching? Well, again, in the NFL, you get free agents every year, and you have to coach those guys, and you got to fit them into your system. And I think The art of recruiting is really the art of evaluation. And it's not evaluation, is he a good player or not? That's not really the evaluation. The evaluation is, does he have the traits to really excel at a high level in your system? You know, that was the Trevor Goosby evaluation. You know, because a lot of people, when Trevor was in high school, didn't see what Trevor has become, which is an elite offensive tackle in college football. So, but what I saw were the traits. And I'm not in the prediction business, right? As I've said this before, like I'm in the production business, not the prediction business. So I didn't predict it, but I knew he had the traits to play at a really high level in our system. So whether it's a high school player or whether it's a player in the portal, that's really what you're looking for. And then you got to meet these guys. And meeting them now when they're in the portal is not like meeting them in high school when they come on an official visit and they're there for a weekend. It's really much more like your NFL 30, top 30 visits, where you're saying, hey, I got to get this guy in the room. I got to find out, does this guy want to be coached? Does he believe in the things we believe in? How great the player does this guy really, really want to be?
All right, we'll take one more for this group on the left.
Coach, I'm Richardson, Orange Buds. Kind of piggybacking off of that, you've been in this industry for such a long time. How tough is it when you see guys are making decisions based off of money and financial stuff more so than the other things that you used to talk to guys about how important is college football, the campus, all these kind of things? How tough is it when it's just mainly a financial decision?
I think I don't think that matters if you're a player, a coach in a different profession. When you make decisions just purely based on the financials, I think you're setting yourself up to make bad decisions. It's got to be more than that. And we try to advise the guys on that. And every player is coming from a different place. It's not frustrating to me. It's not. It doesn't make me angry. It's none of those things. It's a part of college football now. And if you don't embrace it, if you don't evolve with it, it's going to be hard to be successful. So, I think for us as a staff, we've tried to embrace it. And again, our first priority is to recruit great high school players, develop them, and retain them. That's our first priority. But we know, that's not going to be the only way college football works anymore.
All right, Coach Flood, Arch, Trevor, thank you for being here this morning. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you on Wednesday.